Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you, and we're back again with another live session. So today's session is about how you can turn your Raspberry Pi into an Amazon Echo. Now for those of you who don't know what an Amazon Echo is, it's a smart speaker from Amazon which has a intelligent personal assistant called Alexa that helps you simplify tasks or do tasks for you. It's much the same as the Google Assistant or your Bixby or Siri for that matter. So it works the same way. You just say Alexa followed by whatever you want it to do, and it will execute your command and give you a feedback on that. So if you go on to buy this device itself, so it's pretty expensive, and why not just use your Raspberry Pi which is lying at home and then turn it into an Amazon Echo for free. So today we're going to utilize Amazon Alexa voice service to turn our Raspberry Pi into a smart device which is useful as well as free. So let's get started. So let's talk a little about assembly. So assembly is a smart lab based out of N5 since December 2014, and we have provided over 200 free workshops. These workshops are open to everyone. We don't charge you any fees for anything, and we have been conducting workshops from 2014 on every Saturday at 11 a.m. which is quite a hectic schedule, but we have been doing it for you guys. So the workshops themselves are divided into three categories. We have the hack, code, and the data science. Now the workshops like today's, which are dealing with embedded systems, IoT, or involve any hardware for that matter, come under the category of hack. Code workshops on the other hand are just software projects without the use of any hardware, so just they are using APIs, frameworks, etc. Lastly, we have data science category, which is quite self-explanatory, and it covers a very vast majority of topics including ML, machine learning, big data, data analytics, data science, etc., etc. Now our target audience are students, professionals, and entrepreneurs, but we are very happy to welcome anyone who is interested in our workshops. We focus on smart technology and its practical applications, and you can know more about us on our forum, which is members.theassembly.ae. Finally, don't forget to tag us on our social media. We are very active on our social media. We are there on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Also subscribe to our channel if you want to be notified about all the stuff that's happening here. So let's start. Now today we're going to be utilizing Alexa voice service, and for that we'll need an Amazon web developer account, and we'll get to how to do all that later in the later part of today's workshop. But for now, just understand that we're using Alexa voice service, and it allows us to have voice interactions with Raspberry Pi. So it will allow us to automate trivial tasks and such as setting up an alarm, making a calendar booking, or setting up a timer, telling jokes, playing trivia. Now this is something which is really fun. So I tried playing trivia with a group of friends, and it's really fun. So it asks you how many people are playing the trivia, and then it asks questions from one person and then the other, and then at the end it says who's the winner and also. It's quite interesting to play around with Alexa. Then this is just a diagrammatic this is just a diagrammatic review of the Alexa voice service. So you speak, you say the hot word which is Alexa, and then you say your command or whatever you want to Alexa to do, and Alexa listens after you have said the word Alexa, and then once it's heard your command, it then sends it to Alexa voice service, which then processes the command, understands what you mean, and then based on that gives the feedback. So it gives auditory feedback based on what you have asked it to do. Now one thing to note is there is something called Alexa skill set, which you can use to create your custom skills. So by default Alexa has some functionalities, but however if you wanted to do something which is not already there, you can do that using Alexa skill set. Now why use Alexa? So the reasons listed here are just the tip of the iceberg. There are way more, and you'll probably understand them when you are using Alexa, or you'll get to know more. So you can play your music, you can set up alarm, you can get daily news briefing, convert measurements, you ask for local film screenings, jokes, quizzes, and one of the most important or the interesting one is you can set a timer for your pizza. So I've seen people who just keep on staring at the clock to see if 1 minute is over or 2 minutes are over for the cooking time, because their hands are dirty and they don't want to use the mobile during that. So Alexa's got you people covered there. So you can just say Alexa, set up a timer for however much ever long you want, and then yeah, no more burn crusts. So yeah, Alexa has a huge support for different languages. So by default Alexa comes in English language, but you can however change it to different languages. You have Portuguese, Hindi, Italian, Japanese, French, and a few different dialects of Spanish and English. Now I'll tell you guys how you can change this language, but the default languages towards the end of this workshop. But for the demo purposes, we'll be using English with US dialect. So yeah, let's get over with the talking part and let's get started. Okay. Yep. So what we first need to do is, before we get started with setting up the Raspberry Pi, we'll first have to create our own Amazon web developers account. So you can do this by going to Amazon developer web page, and if you already have an account, that's very good. However, if you don't, you can just create an account. Like I just created an account. It asked me for my details, and I have just provided that. And this is, so the first few steps are, it will ask you for username, password, and then it will ask you for your some personal details. You fill in those and then you just follow along with that. Now once you are at this page, you go to the tab which says Alexa and go to Alexa voice services. Now once this screen loads up, you can go and click products, and now you can create a product for your Raspberry Pi. So you can say add a new product and then give the product a name. So let's give it a name. We can name it Raspberry Alexa app or whatever, like the names really don't matter. And also give it an ID. So let me just copy this and paste it for the ID as well. So I can paste it there and I can say -ID. And now for the product type, you can choose device with Alexa built in. So choose that, and will your device use a companion app? For the time being, I'll just make it as no. And for the product category, we can select other because our product is Raspberry Pi. Then it will ask for us to specify the value, so we can just say Raspberry Pi. So let's just type in Raspberry Pi. Okay, and you can go ahead and add a description. So I can just say Alexa on Pi. or whatever. You just want to make sure that you have it because it's a mandatory field, so you want to make sure that it's filled in. Then what you need to do is you want to have it, it will ask you if you want to have the users to interact with being touch initiated or hands free. So you can have both the options. The hands free will allow you to use it with the keyword, like you just say Alexa and then you can use it. And touch initiated is when you type in at a specific, I think it's T on the terminal, and then you press enter and it listens for a command. Then when you scroll down, do you intend to distribute this product commercially? No. Will you it will not be used for business. So this service is free as long as you use it for, as long as you don't use it for businesses, and commercially as long as you use it for your own personal purposes, it's free to play around with. And then is this account associated with I'll just go ahead and no. Okay, next. Okay, I did that, didn't. Okay, next. Please check errors. What error did we get? Okay, please enter a valid product ID. Okay. Okay, it doesn't have to be this. Maybe we can give it another name. We can say Raspbian Alexa. Okay, and try it. Okay, that worked. So now it asks us to create a new, it asks us to enter the LWA security profile. Since we don't have one, we can click on create new profile and give it a name and a description. So now these things, names and description, these give errors sometimes. So just if you for some reason if you get an error here, just try changing the name a bit and then try again. So yeah, let's give it a name, and I'll just name it Raspbian Alexa okay, app. This, I'll just give it this. And then for the description, I'll say Alexa on Raspbian, and then click next. If for some reason you get an error there or it doesn't go to the next page, then you might want to consider changing the name, because it happened to me during my first attempt at this. So we learn from mistakes, yeah. Then over here you need to select other platforms and devices, and over here for the client ID name, you can just name it anything. So I think okay, we can just name it anything, I think. So let's say Raspbian Alexa 2020, I don't know, but just generate ID. Okay, so it worked. Now it might not give you this option at an instance, so if that doesn't happen, just try changing the client ID name and then go ahead and download this. So this will give you a config.json file which you will need for the later steps. So go ahead, download it, click agree, and then click finish. Now I've already downloaded it and I've already set up, so I won't be downloading it, but you guys can go ahead and download if you want to follow along. So let's click on finish, and it will say that your product has been created successfully. And now what we need to do before we set up on our Raspberry Pi, we must enable the security profile that we just created. So to do that, we'll need to go into something called login with Amazon homepage. Now the URL over is developer.amazon.lwa sorry, not LWA underscore LWA, sorry, /LWA/sp/overview.html. Anyways, all the commands and links and everything will be in the description below shortly after the workshop ends, so you don't need to worry about that. So yeah, so over here you go with, you already have a security profile created, which we did in the last step, so you can just click on that and click confirm. Now over here will ask you for your URL. Now if you're using only for your personal use, you can just give it any dummy URL, you can for example say https example.com or whatever. Okay, and click save. So yeah, that's your security profile. Now once it's done, we have click save, and yep, so I think that's pretty much it. Now we can head on to our Raspberry Pi and start with the setup on the Raspberry Pi. So let me just switch to Raspberry Pi. Yes. Okay. So before we proceed to install Alexa on the Raspberry Pi, we first need to make sure that we are using the latest software that's available on the Raspberry Pi. So in order to do that, we run two commands, which are sudo apt-get update and sudo apt-get upgrade. So let's just quickly type them down here. Sudo apt-get update, and it will take some time to update, and once it's done with this, we will run the other command, which is sudo apt-get upgrade. Okay, so this is done. Let's just run the other command again. So it's sudo apt-get upgrade. Okay, so yeah, once this is done, we will download all the installation and configuration scripts that are required so any installation scripts and the configuration scripts for Alexa from GitHub. So in order to do that, we have a few set of commands that we need to type in. Now these commands are pretty long, so I would not be typing in, I would just be copy pasting them from Notepad. But if you guys want to follow along, the commands all the commands that I am using in this workshop are already there in the description below, so you can follow along using those commands. Okay, paste. Okay, so these commands took some ran quickly, but this is probably because I have already run this command before as well, so it might take some time for you guys, but it's okay. Just let it do its job, and then we can move on to the next steps. So yeah, now what we want to do is we want to we want to have that config.json file that we downloaded from the Amazon page when we were creating the account. So that config.json file, we have to copy it into our home Pi location. So if you are already using Raspberry Pi to create your account, you should have it on your Raspberry Pi. However, if you don't, you can copy the content of those files into your Raspberry Pi. Or another thing that you can do is you can create a new file called config.json and then just paste the content of the file into that into the new file that you just created on your Raspberry Pi. So let's go ahead and do that. So nano, okay, yeah, we're on the nano config.json. Now you can see there that I've already pasted the code from the original config.json file that I downloaded from the Amazon, so it's already there, but it won't be there in your case. In your case, what would happen is, if you're following along, so if you just have typed in nano or sudo nano config.json, it would probably create a new file and it would be empty. So what you would want to do is to paste in the information or copy that file. So yeah, now we're done with it. We can go back and move on to the next step. So now we can go ahead and run the setup.sh script by using the following line of code. So we can say bash setup.sh and then pass in config.json. So bash setup.sh space config.json. Okay, and what this command will do is it will ask you to agree agree to the terms and conditions or disagree. So it will just stop over here, so you have to type in agree if you agree to the terms and agreements. Otherwise, if you don't, you can just type in quit, and that will quit the installation, but you won't be able to do anything else. So yeah, you need to agree to this if you want to follow along. Then once this setup process has completed, we still need to install a few additional packages which will allow Alexa software to work correctly. And these packages for some reason aren't installed during the standard setup process, and you might run into errors without them. So we'll just install them. Again, I'm just copying the command for this for these, but this commands and everything, all these commands you can find in the description section below. So yeah, let's just wait for it to be done, and this might take some time, so just wait for it to be completed and then we can move along. All right, so it's finally completed now, and one thing that you should keep in mind is, if in case it's taking a lot of time for you, because this setup takes a lot of time, so but in case if it just gets stuck on some point and does not move, or hang your Raspberry Pi or something like that, then what you might want to do is you might want to increase the swap size. The swap file is used to increase the total accessible memory beyond its beyond the hardware capabilities of the Raspberry Pi. So what we can do is we can increase the swap size. So by default it should be 100, and then maybe we can increase it to 1 gig, so we can increase it to 1024. In order to do that, you need to type in, okay, so let's go here. Let me just quickly show you how we increase the swap file size. So you type in sudo dphys-swap file and then swap off. This will turn the swap file off. This will turn swap off, and then once it's off, you can go to type in this command which says sudo nano. This will open up the swap file. So over here, what you are trying to look is for line like this. It says conf_swap size equals 100. By default, this would not be commented, and in fact this line would be commented which says conf swap size equals 1024. So just change the swap size from 100 to 1024. Save this file and exit, and then once you exit, you can just type in sudo dphys_swap file space setup, and once you run this, it will run the setup for swap file again, so that the newly defined size can be used. And then once this is done, finally we can, so I'm not running it because I have already done that, so okay, I can just run it again, no problem. So yeah, it says checking existing and keeping it. So finally we can turn the swap back on. So we turn it off, now we're turning it on back. So yep, I think we're good. This should work. Now if you want all programs to be reloaded with the access to new swap size, so what you can do is, the easiest way for that is you can just reboot your Raspberry Pi. So sudo reboot, and that should make things fine, and then you can start running the setup bash file again, and hopefully it should compile this time, and it shouldn't take long this time, as long as previously, because it must have compiled some part of it, so now the remaining part will be compiled without any problems, hopefully. So yeah, okay, like I mentioned before, let's install some additional packages or libraries that we need for Alexa to run. Okay, paste. I think it didn't get copied. Let me just copy again and paste it here. Okay, and this should be quick. So let it complete, and then we can move on to the next step. So the next step will involve changing the language or playing around with the language settings and all for Alexa. Alright, so now let's go ahead and see how we can change the default language for the Alexa. So in order to do that, we need to go and change some things in the Alexa client SDKConfig.json, which gets generated when we do the setup. So let's just type in sudo nano home/pi/build/integration/AlexaClientSDKConfig.json and hit enter. Okay. Now once you are in there, you would want to search for something called device settings. So the way you do that is you click Control W, and it should, then you can start typing in. So you want to search for device settings, hit enter. Okay, so here you can see the device settings, and if you scroll down, you will also see something called locales, and then if you scroll further down, you will see default. Okay, where is that? Default locale, yeah, this one. So by default it is English with a US dialect. So these are all the ones that are supported: English US, English Great Britain, and English Indian, and several others like Hindi, Portuguese, etc., etc. So if you want to change if you want to make any of these languages as your default language for Raspberry Pi, or sorry, Alexa, you can change this EN/US to your preferred language from here. Okay, and then you can click Control X, save the changes, and yeah, you're set for that. Now another thing that you need to do is you need to set up audio for your device. So how you can do that is you need to have mics and speakers. So I'm using USB's mic, which also has a speaker with it. So I can basically have, it's a 2-in-1 device. You can have a mic and a speaker connected to one. So the important thing is you need to get the device numbers and the device card numbers of each of these devices, because we'll be utilizing them later on. So in order to do that, we need to type in a command called arecord space -L, and this will show up a list of all the devices recording devices that are connected to the Raspberry Pi. So currently I have one device which says device 0 USB audio. So the 0 signifies the device number, and then I also need to know the card number. So it is there at card 2, and the device number is 0. So you might want to note these down somewhere, or just keep it in your mind, because we'll use them later. Now in order to know the device and card number of your speakers, you need to say aplay -L. Then this would show you a list of all the speakers that are connected. So this over here that says HDMI is the HDMI output, that is HDMI that is connected to your Raspberry Pi, and this here is the 3.5 mm audio jack. And in my case, I have the same device for audio and the mic and speaker, so I'll use this one. So again, the device number is 0 and the card number is 0. So it just so happens to be that in my case, since I have the same device for both the mics and the speakers, I have the same device and card number, but it will vary when you have different devices. So just follow whatever device numbers you have and use it and then change the file later accordingly. So now what we need to do is we need to type in sudo nano /home/pi/a.asound.rc. Now I have already created this file, and the code for this file will by default be empty, or it might have something, might have some text. However, I'll paste the codes and everything in the description below, so you can copy that from there and just change it. So the only thing that you will need to change in this file is this thing over here. So it says mic and HW:2,0. So 2 is the device number, the card number of my mic, and 0 is the device number. Same is the case for speaker. Speaker has the card number and then the device number separated by a comma. So this is the only thing that you will need to change in this file when you are copying it from the description below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So once you're done, you can press Ctrl X and exit out of this. Now in order to authorize and run Alexa on your Raspberry Pi, you will type in bash. We're almost done, right? So we are almost done. So everything is set up now. We only have to run our Alexa and authorize it, and once we are done with that, so we're basically done. And finally we'll look at how we can change our audio or speaker gain to increase or decrease according to personal preferences, and also we'll look at how we can start Alexa at startup. Now this is something that is really important, because if you want to what happens if you shut down your Raspberry Pi and you want to restart your you want to start Alexa again. Now the way you do it is pretty simple. You can just say bash, and you can just type in the same command that we are going to type in now every time you restart your Raspberry Pi. But if you want to run Alexa on boot, then you will have to follow the steps that I'm going to be showing in the later part of the video. For now, what you can say is bash start sample.sh, and once you hit enter, Alexa would start. So it would start up Alexa. Now in my case, I have already, okay, let me just run it first. So in my case, I have already authorized it. So it says okay, wait, it's too fast. Yeah, wait, okay. So it says that it has been authorized, but in your case, because you're running it for the first time, it won't be authorized. Yeah, here it is. It says authorized. Since you are running it for the first time, it won't be authorized. It will ask you to authorize it. So what it will do is it will have a 4-digit probably, or a 4-digit, yeah, I think a 4-digit unique code, and then it will say to authorize, go to this website, and then it will have a link. So just click on that link, sign into your Amazon account, and then it will ask for the same authorization code. Enter the same authorization code and it will be authorized. And this is only a one-time process. You don't need, once your Raspberry Pi gets authorized, you don't need to do this procedure again and again. It's only for the first time that you do. Okay, so once this is done, okay, let me just show you how Alexa works, or should we keep it for the end? Okay, let's just do it at the end. So I'll just stop it, and we'll come back to how Alexa works towards the end of the session, right? So now we'll talk about how you can get your Alexa to start on boot. Okay, so the first thing you need to do for that is you need to modify the user input manager.cpp script. So the way you do it, let me check if I have it somewhere here, because it's a pretty long one. Yeah, this one. So you say sudo nano home/pi/avs device sdk /sample app /source /user input manager.cpp. It's a really long one, but nevertheless all the commands will be there in the description, so you can just copy paste. Okay, hit enter and it should open up a file. Now in this file you're looking for something called m_interaction manager arrow begin. So let's search for that. Control W to search, and then you have m_inter action manager, arrow sign, arrow is like dash and then greater than, and I think it should be fine, and then search for it. So over here you see this line, interaction begin, and then inside the while loop. So what you want to do in order to make it start on boot, you need to add these two lines. So I have already added these two lines, but these two lines won't be there by default. So you need to add these two lines, std colon colon this underscore thread colon colon sleep for, and so whatsoever. So all the you have to add both these lines to this file. Then once you have added it, you can close this. Now since we have modified the scripts, we'll need to recompile the Alexa. So we need to recompile the bash.start thingy, which took a lot of time in the first place, but hopefully it doesn't take, I mean, it doesn't take that long for it does it pretty quickly for the second time. So you can just say cd home slash pi, so home slash pi, then you can go there, and once you're there you can type in sudo bash setup.sh space config.json. So it's the same that we did before, but now that we have changed the script, so we want to recompile it. Now I won't be doing it now because I've already done it. So this was just for you guys to know that how things are done. Okay, now assuming that you have compiled your sample app again, we can proceed to create a service file so that we can automatically start our Alexa service at startup. Now the way we do it is we create a new file called sudo nano, I spelled nano wrong, nano and lib systemd, then we have system, then we have alexa.service. It's a bit slow. Alexa.service. Now I have again already created this file, and you need to, so this file doesn't already exist. This is a file that you will have to create on yourself by yourself. So I've already created it, and once you use this command, it will open up this file, but it will not be filled, it will be just a blank file. Again, the code will be there in the description below. You can just copy the code and paste it here and then save the file and exit. So with this service file, it will tell what this file does is it will tell the operating system what the user will execute the bash script. It also sets that we require the network to be active before initializing Alexa. So you will need to connect your Raspberry Pi to probably an Ethernet, or just make sure that it has Raspberry Pi, or sorry, not Raspberry Pi, what do you call it, internet enabled before. Then what we can do is we can we'll start up our new service. So we can say sudo systemctl enable alexa.service. Again I won't do it, I have already done it. Then once you're done with this command, you can just type in sudo systemctl start alexa.service, and for some reason if it doesn't work, you can check the status by saying sudo systemctl status space alexa.service. Now finally, if you have issues like if your microphone is not you need to really scream into your microphone, or if your microphone is too sensitive for to your audio, or if your speaker is not giving output in a loud manner, or it's very loud, you want to bring it down a bit. So all these kind of changes you can do it using ALSA mixer. So you can say ALSA mixer and then press enter. Now this will show up something like this. Now if you want to move between sources, you can type in F6. So currently it's on HDMI, and then you can change it to your microphone or speaker. So I'll just go to microphone first. Now I have speaker and mic, as I said, both connected to the same device, and then you can play around. You can increase or decrease the speaker or mic gain, and just see whatever works for you by experimenting. And then once you're satisfied with it, you can hit the escape key. And yeah, if you want to make this changes permanent, you can say sudo alsa store, and this will store, okay, let me correct the spelling, sudo alsa store, and this will store the current settings that you just made in the alsa mixer. So if you increased or decreased speaker gain, mic gain, anything, that will be stored permanently. Again, I wouldn't do that because everything works fine for me. And now's the moment of truth. Now's the time you have all been waiting for, to see how Alexa actually works. So ta-da, let's start. Okay, so we need to type in the same command again, this one, bash start sample.sh, hit enter. Okay, so currently Alexa is working, and if I say the hot word or if I say the name, then it would respond back. So Alexa, what's the time right now? Okay, that was embarrassing. Wait, let me just stop it. I think I said Alexa before and kept on listening to what I was saying, so this time I'll just start and it should work fine. Okay, Alexa, can you sing me a song?
Up in the hills, the campfire roars, graham cracker snaps in 2s, 3s, and 4s, a marshmallow melts and chocolate cores.
Alexa, stop it please. So yeah, that was okay. I won't say the name, but my assistant singing a song for me. It can also do several other things. It can wish me happy birthday, set an alarm, and all sort of cool things. And it can also have a clap. So Alexa, clap for me please.
Okay.
Okay, with that clap we mark the end of today's workshop. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that this workshop is very helpful to you guys. So if you want to get notified about our future workshops, do subscribe to our channel, and also tag us or follow us on our social media pages so that you can be notified when we are or what workshop we are going to do next. So until next time, see you. Bye bye.